and the return and the Mahdi and so on. You know, did you ever see that movie, Cartoon? Anyone see that on late night TV? I mean, I saw it when it first came out when I was young. Anyone in this room see it?
Cartoon.
Cartoon, yeah. Have you ever seen, well, go rent it, and it's got Laurence Olivier in it, and who's that guy that's head of the National Rifle Association, the actor? Charlton Heston. And it's about a guy called Chinese Gordon, who was the British governor in Khartoum, and he's facing, guess who? The enemy in the movie. The British are fighting the different shaded, colored folks of the Sudan, led by someone called the Mahdi. And his claim is that he is the Mahdi. This really happened in the 1800s. And this Mahdiism swept through the Sudan. And of course he was claiming that he was the hidden Imam returned. He was the Mahdi. And you know, he was also supposed to look like Muhammad. And according to the tradition, Muhammad had a gap in his teeth, according to the Hadith, you know. And so they have, in the movie, they have Laurence Olivier in dark face, playing the Mahdi, and he's got, you know, his teeth are color tight, he's got a gap there in his teeth, so he looks like the Mahdi, you see. I recommend you see the movie. It was a good movie. Better than movies I make nowadays, like I was telling you. Really a fun movie and dramatic and historically, at least in the ballpark, and quite well acted and really edifying in many ways. So it's about how this British governor stood up to the Mahdi and got himself killed. How the British all got upset and then returned with Winston Churchill and the cavalry, and that was the last cavalry charge at Omdurman in the 1870s or 80s with General Kitchener, and punished the Sudanese for this revolt where Chinese Gordon got his name from having put down the Boxer Rebellion in China. And then they brought him out to Khartoum, and he wouldn't give way and so on. So it's a very dramatic period of history, and Winston Churchill writes about it in his memoirs because he was there. He was in the last charge on horseback that they made against the Mahdi's army. So you can read about that. Well, I encountered these people too. And guess where I met them? I met them in the subway of New York. One day I was in the subway of New York, you know, in the old days, about 15 years ago, there'd be music playing, like this, and they have all kinds of tables there, like an old underground world before, you know, they started to clean it up under Mayor Giuliani, but before that it was like, you know, another universe. And every kind of person you can imagine was down there huckstering, hyping something. And then there was this long table, a very sort of elegantly dressed and very exciting Arab music playing, and they were all sitting there, and they were giving out Mahdi propaganda. They had little booklets, I still have them at home, the Mahdi, and who he is, and what Mahdiism is, and and you could see it was a mixture of Christianity and Islam. It wasn't Christian and it wasn't Islam, it had a mixture of both in it. And they had a center out on Long Island where one of the Mahdis, he was called the Mahdi, one of the Mahdi's descendants was holding court, and he was sending his representatives into the New York subways. So I met him in the underground New York subway. You know, the Mahdi lives. Very exciting for me to meet the Mahdi and his descendants. They couldn't drag me away from that table. I was so interested in it. It was really fascinating. So anyway, the Mahdi is the expected one, and after 12 Imam Shi'ism, that's the last type of Shi'ism. Okay, enough about Shi'ism. Any questions? My friend who wanted to hear about Shi'ism, she's ill, she's not here, and now she hasn't learned it. I'm going to keep you till 1:15, so don't jump up because I came in 5 minutes late. Okay. Before we go to the pre-Islamic poetry, which I gave you out that stuff about, we're going to do a little bit on Sharia. Or as it's called, Islamic law. That's right, Sharia. Read, if you've got the Gib book, read it. It's very good on Sharia, Mohammedanism. It's the best book I know that sets it all out for you really nicely, and gives you all of the materials in it. Now, the 5 pillars of Islam that we identified in the Surah 2 of the Quran are somewhat part of how Sharia is constructed. Remember, the first pillar was Shahada. I'll give you the Arabic names. I'll tell you what that means in a minute. The second pillar was Salah. The third pillar was Ramadan. This may not be in the proper order. The fourth pillar was Zakat, charity. And the fifth pillar was pilgrimage, Hajj. That may not be in the right order.
What about the sixth one?
Well, it's not official, the sixth one. No, the sixth one, as I said, is some add of 6, but it's not part of the 5. If it's 5 pillars, it's not 6. Anyway, I said jihad may be considered to be a pillar by some, but not by others. Anyway, officially those are. Now, this is the Sunni presentation. The Shiites may or may not follow it to the same degree. And they, now this is testimony of the faith, La ilaha illallah wa Muhammad Rasulullah. Theoretically, if I've said that and if I'm in the proper state of purity, and this assumes tahara, purification, if I'm in the proper state of purification, tahara, I'm a Muslim. The problem is you have to have another thing, according to the strict Muslim, niyyah, the right intent. And since I didn't have the right intent, I'm not a Muslim. But if you say that, La ilaha illallah wa Muhammad Rasulullah, basically you're a Muslim. You've done the confession of the faith. I can write it here on the board. La ilaha illa Allah wa Muhammad Rasulullah. No, people say, is the Hebrew God the same as the Muslim God? Yeah. El in Hebrew is Illah in Arabic. No El, no Illah. The vowels don't matter in Smith language. And to show that, in fact, it is that way, if you know the other Hebrew word for God, Elohim, which is a plural, the H comes back in, you see, and here's the H here. So basically, they are the same. And in fact, Allah is really Al-Illah. Slur it over, and you get Allah. Al-Illah, Al-Illah, Allah. So in fact, people say, is the Western God the same as Eastern God? Yeah, it is. People don't understand it. The vocabulary shifts a little bit. But no God, this is no, this is a negative, no God except Allah and what? Muhammad